Okay, welcome guys, welcome. Looks like we're live. I never ever am completely sure that it's actually working. Got to check my audio levels. That looks okay. Maybe a little bit loud, but I'll just reduce that slightly. Okay, so welcome guys. This is ChatTactic number 57, I think. Anyway, I'm going to be, the giveaway today is the Pegasus Expedition, which is just about to leave early access. So that's going to be leaving early access tomorrow. So I thought I'd actually just go through, talk a little bit about the Pegasus Expedition, and also, of course, then we'll do the giveaway for that one at the back end of the session. Okay, so Jamison saying good evening to all you Tasmanian tigers. There we go. So, and Jerry's saying good afternoon from New Jersey. Good afternoon. Jamison saying Yeetus Greetus everyone. Hi William Knowles, how are you going? And Chris is saying good evening from a heatwave UK. Wow. Okay, I've been watching the Ashes actually, so I've got that sort of sitting up through here, or just monitoring it. One of the batsmen for Australia just got out, so I was just monitoring that as we're sort of just easing into this particular one. So, William's saying, hail and well met Daz. I think it's supposed to be Daz, not Dad. It's William is not my son. I don't have a son. Oliver was saying hi, and Vivian House saying we hear and see you. Thanks for that one. Hi, Flackhawk. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I'll just go back to the Pegasus Expedition. So the Pegasus Expedition, as I say, is leaving early access. So you can see leaving early access June the 20th of 2023. Now, for me, it's already June the 20th, but it's you can sort of see down the bottom. Can you see? You probably can't see all that clearly. Anyway, it is the 20th for me, but it will mean tomorrow at some point. Yeah, release date 21st for me, 20th for everyone else. So that's leaving early access now. The Pegasus Expedition is one of these games I haven't played a hell of a lot of, for the simple reason I don't tend to do story-driven campaigns. But, and I do sort of say this with a bit of excitement, but there is actually a number of different ways you can play the game now. They've actually added in some different game modes, which changes it from being story-driven, if you don't want the story-driven side, to having a much more of a random game experience, which looks pretty cool. So I thought we might sort of have a quick look at that as well. But I guess the base game really is that it is sort of story-driven as such. It's a very simple game in the way that you actually then sort of use the game and fight with the game. Like it's not something where you're really micromanaging your ships. You're basically just setting them in different fleets, giving them a very, very basic series of commands, and then just watching them sort of just go in and essentially take over areas is sort of the way it does actually sort of work. So you've got like an attack defense type situation where the AI will also be doing the same sort of thing. Hi Jeff, how you going? And hi Pickle Father Nurgle. And Chris is saying, have you been covering a lot of Age of Wonders 4? However, I can't run it. Is Age of Wonders 3 still worth investing in it, being older now and all? Hi Ben as well. Hi Battle Mode. Yeah, look, Age of Wonders 3 is a great game. Age of Wonders 4 though really does, completely blow it away, in my opinion. It's funny, like I will talk about Age of Wonders 4, so I won't sort of talk too much about it. But the comparison between Age of Wonders 3 and Age of Wonders 4. Age of Wonders 3, it's in one sense it sort of does have a fairly big difference, and I play it very heavily modded. So there's a lot of things if you actually play a modded version of Age of Wonders 3 that makes it quite different every time you play it. Whereas I've got to say, Age of Wonders 4 does have a bit of a taint of feeling like it's playing the same way each time you play it, to a degree, to a fairly high degree actually, and that may be something that will push it backwards a little bit in that sort of estimation. So it doesn't have the scope at the moment that Age of Wonders 3 does have. I think it will get there, but there's certainly a lot of things going on. But we'll talk about Age of Wonders 4 and Age of Wonders 3 if you like fairly soon. But I'll just go through the Pegasus Expedition first, and then we'll get into it. So the Pegasus Expedition is a story-driven sci-fi grand strategy game. So as soon as I see the word story-driven, for me, I tune out when I sort of see different games. But this is one that I'm I've been interested in ever since I first heard about it, even though it is story-driven. But doesn't have to be played story-driven anymore. A key moment in humanity survival. Facing an overwhelming threat at home, humanity sends expeditions to the Pegasus galaxy in desperate attempt to find a refuge for the population of Earth. So the actual basic story is very, very heavily driven by the story elements. It does have like different endings and different branches and things like that you can sort of then head on down. Whereas there are now, I think, 4 different ways of playing the game, and I will fire it up so you can actually have a bit of a look at it. So it's early access, but only for one more day. So that's going to be then not. It's no longer going to be basically it's going to be a launched game after that. Now I would assume it's still going to get like a lot of love and a treatment because they have added a lot to the game during the early access phase. This now is almost going to turn people like me off seeing this, to be honest, story driven, because it doesn't have to be played that way anymore. As we come back down as well. Yeah, so you can see there is a story-driven sci-fi grand strategy game. Now, the base game actually is, but I guess I'm just trying to think of another game where you do actually have like different ways of playing it, but where it does play quite differently. And I did actually test it this week as well, just to see what happens, how random actually is it. And it is actually something that is fairly random. When you do actually play the non-story events. When you play the story event, you are playing a story event, essentially. So building on the legacy of the grand strategy game, the Pegasus Expedition adds the grand strategy genre. The Pegasus Expedition adds a strong narrative side to the classic forex gameplay, which involves managing your diplomatic ties, armies, economy, and scientific development. Now, again, that's only for the base game now. Key features: so immense handcrafted world. It's actually a universe. A replayable campaign set in a rich, vast world. The replayability doesn't really come from the universe, as far as I can sort of tell. It's more just about the choices that you make, and then the different sorts of outcomes that do come into it. Conflict and tragedy. So experience a deep storyline, again of zero interest to me, where no one is perfect and ends will often have to justify the means. So when you're playing the game, you'll often end up with these sort of, I guess, these ethical dilemmas where you need to then sort of choose your way through, which gives you different sort of story events, different sorts of things then sort of do kick in. Choose to be the leader you wish to be, so face difficult moral choices in difficult times and suffer the consequences. So, yeah, as I say, quite often there'll be ethical dilemmas. Rewarding a gameplay experience, so versatile forex gameplay with many different approaches to various challenges and to various challenges the campaign presents. Meaningful diplomacy, a diverse and versatile system with over 30 independent factions in the galaxy, and planning-based combat. So manage your warfront's bigger picture and weigh which losses you're willing to take for success. So that's sort of how the battles play out. Is you're not actually playing them tactically. You are basically just giving like an overview direction of what's going to happen in the actual battle itself. Read more. So we've got a story-driven forex game. So, that's the base game. The council, blah blah blah. Economy. You'll start out with only a seasoned but thin expeditionary fleet, and you will need to developing a functioning economy fast to keep the expedition going. After all, you would be supplied from home for only so long. Diplomacy in through there, managing your fleets and officers. Yep, so you've got all these different bits and pieces. To stellar warfare. This is actually what happens with stellar warfare. It literally is just an overview where they come in and basically sort of like overwhelming odds. I'm trying to think of another game that's like that. There is one that's very similar. It's almost like Risk in one sort of sense, where you're just going through different sorts of warplanes. But when you come into a system, you don't take over world by world. You are taking over the whole system. Technology in the future. There's even shinier future ahead. Yeah, blah blah blah. Fight against ever worsening odds, and that's sort of like that's. So that is more talking about the campaign back in through there, but. And I say this because I will fire it up just so you can sort of see it, because there it is down there. Because I think there's some things that are quite exciting with it. So I don't mind saying I did a video on this. I think the gameplay is quite good, but I really do not like the aesthetic at all. Someone on Explorminate said that everyone looks like Harry the Hawk. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's always got like it's sort of, the artwork reminds me very much of Eastern European style of doing characters, and I don't know if it is actually. I'm not sure where the devs are from, but it certainly has that sort of that very, as you say, a hawkish look to it. Very sort of very large and. What's the word? Where it is like a hawk-like type noses on everyone, and so it's interesting. Like it's just an art style. So I've and now I've seen it. I can't unsee it. Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I noticed that as soon as I saw the artwork for it, it reminded me of as I say, of that sort of more Eastern European style of doing illustration. Which doesn't bother me, but it's something I did notice as well. Pickle Father Noogles saying, "Hey, hi back." Sorry, and battle mode saying the battles are the best bit of the game. I haven't played enough of it to really have a look at the battles. Are very, very simplistic. So if we go into a new game now, the way that the game actually was previously, and I've got like this is a version. This is a pre-release version of what's coming tomorrow. So I've got a bit of an advanced version in through here. So if I just go to new game, you can see down through here that I've got I've got the campaign, which is the story-driven side of the game, in through this other side. So start the expedition. The Pegasus Galaxy as the director of the Zeus Link fleet. Now this one is always the same sort of start, but then you've got strategic choice once you actually do hit the actual game itself. But the thing I'm most excited about is actually in the scenarios. And so choose one of the 4 scenarios. This game mode does not have tutorials. So play the campaign, or at least part of the campaign first, if you do like more of a random type start. If you start the game in through here, so you've got like the Zeus Link molded as one of the molded as one in the long war fought against humanity's home in the Milky Way and sent to the Pegasus Galaxy by the European Union. Now, I didn't actually test this one because this may be the same as the campaign start, but without the story elements, and so. That may be what that is. In fact, let's just start it and have a quick look and see if it is the same start. If it's the same start, there's going to be like a couple of planets. I'll just skip past all of these. Here we go. No, okay. So we do actually have different ways of doing it. Let's just go to Scattered Empires and we'll just do a couple of starts here. Basic scenario, if you will. Okay, so. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Let's proceed. There is a lot of dialogue in this game. So this is where we sort of started in this particular one. When you start the normal game, I forget where you actually come in, like the actual campaign game itself. But in this case, we sort of start off with just a single element, a single area, where we can then start to do different bits and pieces. We have a bit of knowledge about the systems near us. The game is definitely sort of is sort of controlled through the star lines. You're looking for, in this case, having buildable locations is actually good. So it's better than the actual campaign start. So it does get you sort of moving through. Now, if I go and start again, because this is what I did to test it. I didn't test it with this particular start, but if we just go back out, exit to the menu, and just do another start again. So go to new game, scenarios, start game, the Zeus Link, start scenario. And I'm really glad they added this in, actually. I'm really, really glad for this. So, blah, blah, blah. Just got to cut through all this again. Just go Scattered Empires again. Let's proceed again. So you can see there we're now in a different start. So we've now got, like, it is a random start when you actually do come back into the actual game itself each time. So that's sort of like, this for me is great. Oh, there we go. This is interesting. If we had have got this one at the start of the whole, like the very first time, this is the usual start for the game is actually this particular system, this Zaire system. The portal to Soul is through here, and then you start to sort of extend down into here. So this is actually the campaign game. Hang on, let's just try one more just to make sure. Because if we had have got that the first time around, I would have just assumed, okay, this is just the same start over and over and over, but I don't think it is. Quit to menu. Do one more start. New game, scenarios, start game, Zeus link, start scenario. Now, I'm assuming that this is not always going to be the same, and we have to just cut through this stuff. Whoops. I don't know if we can cut through that one. Scattered empires. Oh, you can just press space. Yeah, I really don't like story-driven stuff. Yeah, look at this. Okay, that was just a freaky coincidence that we ended up over through here, which is the campaign start for the game. So yeah, you do sort of start off in different sort of random locations back in through this other side. So this particular one is barren, for example, which means that it's, you're not going to be able to develop it very, very well. In this case, we actually are more in the middle of things. We can sort of see there's a lot more around us that we can then sort of go and actually action. But anyway, that's the so you do actually now have these random starts. By the way, there are, as I say, 4 different ways of actually starting the game as well. So you've got well, there's 4 different ways actually. I'll just go back out again, exit to menu. So you've got different approaches. If we just go to new game yet again, scenario, start game. And so the Zeus link, so this one, each of the actual starts that you have, each of these 4 starts has got like a different ability. So we have a 60% increased science output with this particular one, the Zeus link, 15% increased rare earth extraction and energy production, relations with Tamanin factions are decreased by 40, and relations with human and Ankarim factions are increased by 20. So that sort of just gives you your basic start as you come into the galaxy. So the galaxy doesn't change every time you come in, but you're just starting randomly somewhere in the galaxy. The first expeditionary fleet, again, has got different sorts of starts back in through here. So units are cheaper to produce, stations are 50% cheaper to produce as well. You've got Dara's Combine, Al-Mustamara, I'm not sure what these things actually are. Start with an already established colony, so buildings with settlements and colonies are 30% cheaper to produce. And so again, you've got like a lot of choice in here. And then Pegasus Republic, so lock to war with all the other human factions, start the game with 3 operatives and with most cooperative related technologies. Units are 20% cheaper to produce. So if we start with one of these, and I haven't tried starting with one of these, if we just go and start the scenario. But I love that they've done this, really. Like this is really, really quite cool. Yeah, so you've got like the different, I wish there was a tooltip there to give you a bit more of a feel of what's going on through here. If we try just to hide of the Empire and see if that one sort of starts us off. So again, we're just going to have, let's see how we go. This guy doesn't look as hawk-like as some of the others. There we go. So we've now got the actual empire that we're now going to be sort of trying to deal with. So we now actually have this massive empire that we need to survive against, and we sort of start off in through here. So that's sort of where we are with the game. So there's a lot of different ways to play the game now, which I'm so happy that they've actually done that with the game. And as I say, I haven't played enough of the game to really talk much about it, but it is interesting. Like it's got like a lot of interesting aspects about what it actually does do. Yeah, so simple resources. It is designed to be a strategy game, not a tactical game. But that's the Pegasus Empire. Sorry, the Pegasus Expedition. I'll just quit out of the game unless anyone else has something else I wanted to have a look at with it. Okay, so Ben saying, how far did you get into the game? Not very far at all, to be honest, Ben. I just literally, what I did was, actually, we will go and just, we'll exit to the menu and just, I'll start up the campaign. Then you can see the hawkish characters. Go to the campaign. This is suggested that you do this at the start anyway, because this will give you your tutorial. But it is heavy dialogue driven, the way it sort of does start. Yeah, blah 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 blah. We'll blah blah our way through all this stuff. You can't skip forward to this either. think you can. No, you... So, Elodie Perron. Now, when she turns around, check out the snoz on her.
First, remember this moment, and remember the stakes. We will risk ourselves.
Yeah, you can't skip it. I'm pressing the old keys like the Q key, the escape. Actually, maybe the escape did it. Okay, the escape did it. Okay, that's cool. All right, so so here we are. So again, there's that portal to soul that we saw there before. Now I've pressed escape before it got too far. I'll move further into the galaxy. So you've sort of got to go and take your fleet, and then move down into this location. Here we go. You can sort of see the nose is very, very sharp. So then it just goes through the different dialogue with them highlighted. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. We'll just keep on going through this one, and through here. Anyway, I won't sort of go through the actual thing itself, but yep, so okay, so just have to go through. But yeah, they certainly have a very distinctive sort of style of illustration on their faces. Press escape. Oh yeah, we can actually get out of those cutscenes. That's good. I didn't think we could. And so this then steps you through the way of actually sort of doing the way that you would then attack. This is where it's sort of fairly important. So you don't get to, that's as far in as I can zoom in. I can use the WASD keys. Actually, no, I can go a little bit further. Can I go any further? No, that's just it. So we don't get to see actual ships. What we do get to see is the 4 different fleets that they have back over through here, and the sorts of things that they've actually then got. So these are the actual fleets of the enemy. These are our fleets coming back in this other side. And so what we end up having through here is that we've got 4 systems where the enemies are present. And we then decide how we then come down into the actual combat itself. And so we've got, like for example, we're coming in with the 4 battle groups forming a half circle pattern. So battle group 1 and 3 will then attack the Zorka, actually the command beacon. The 2 and 4 would then sort of take Zorka 1. If we go to this one here, so 4 battle groups forming an encircled formation, we still end up with the 3rd coming in this way, the 2nd coming in this way, and 1 and 4 still coming out in against this other side. 6 battle groups, so 2 against that one. Actually, we then split up our forces even less, so we've got even less forces coming back in. So we have to then just decide which pattern we want. Now, as far as I can tell, the best way is to make sure that you have the biggest number of troops coming into a single battle as you possibly can. So in this case, we've got Battle Fleet number 1 and Battle Fleet number 2 both going into small areas. We've got 3 battle groups. In this case, we end up with 2 battle groups going in against this one here, and the 2nd just going in loosely. That one may be the best one for us to use because we end up essentially ganging up on this particular one with the most numbers. We then actually have the morality of minimal casualties. So this one actually enhances our reputation through to by any means necessary, where we sort of allow the use of the fleet's nuclear arsenal, and of course we then sort of start to destroy our reputation. This has a bearing in the actual game, of course. We then actually have the plans we're going to use. So if we go with this one through here, cautious advance, we have negative movement speed and negative 5% damage. So we end up taking less damage if we do that one through there, through to lightning strikes, where we end up having plus 50% movement speed. And this is going to cost me resources though. Let's just keep it in tier 1. So I just have to choose which one of these plans I want to go with. Assault and Hull, I might just go with negative 10%. I'll just go that way. And I'll go with the neutral back down through this other side. If we start the combat, they literally just go in. I can't do anything more than this. So we go in, and that's basically the combat. You can see our ships have come in to sort of take on the small craft. They're now coming across to fight our fleet. This fleet is going to struggle a little bit against them. Now once we destroy that particular group, defeat imminent over through here. So we can do things like run them down, stand your ground. Okay, that one's defeated. Here they come. So we're now destroying this group. So this is the last of the combats. Go and run them down. There we go. Destroy them. And that's the combat. That's pretty much it. So okay, then we've got the figures, the characters again. There we go. We can get another look at the nose there. So anyway, that's sort of basically where they are. I'll just press space. And again, you've got sort of ethical choices with what they sort of then deliver, but let's not worry about it. Let's just, I can't escape out of here, unfortunately. Okay, so now I can actually sort of do it. So the base game then does sort of step you through the system essentially, and sort of allow you to sort of see how the game actually is then sort of played. Anyway, let's just go back out. We will quit out of that one. So that's the giveaway for today, the Pegasus Expedition. So that is, as I say, leaving early access, and there is now a way to play it where you actually have like a random start, which is, I think, is great. So, but I would suggest that you go and do that one. I've missed a lot of the comments. I'll just go back up the top. Yeah, Doomiston saying Stellaris. It's sort of, Stellaris I think has got more tactical style of the way that you would sort of set things up, but I haven't played enough of the Pegasus Expedition to really get into any sort of nuance with it. So it certainly doesn't. It's certainly an overview that you're looking at when you're sort of doing the combat. I think you're sort of much more at that strategic level with the game. Picklefather Noodle saying Battlefleet Gothic. I can't remember much about that one, to be honest. Everyone looks very serious, says Ben. Yes, they do. All the time, yeah. There's no lightheartedness with this, but it is war after all. Picklefather saying looks very much like a Battlefleet in its combat. Oh, okay. But I'm saying the battles are simplistic, but there's more to it than meets the eye. You'll get wrecked if you don't use the right tactics. Yeah, so you do actually have those different tactics you can then sort of use. And you saw there one of our fleets actually did get destroyed. I probably should have gone with the one where we had two versus, like, the two different fleets going into two different systems. That would have, I think, then sort of locked things down a little bit. So Ben saying, I like auto battlers though, so I'm biased to enjoy these things. And Benjamin's then sort of saying, I remember when the idea of EU having a military was just a conspiracy theory. Yeah. And Pegasus Expedition is nice in that it harkens back to the older strategy games of the 90s with story-driven forex stuff. See, story-driven for me is a negative. I really shy away. Hi, Tenru, how are you going? Yep, so Ben saying I skipped the dialogue on my playthrough. I felt bad doing it, but it's not very good, to be honest. Yeah, I find most story-driven games aren't good. There was one I saw the other day that I was actually quite impressed with, and I can't think of what it was. Oh, God, what was it? There was one that I really thought, this one actually sounds good, but I can't think of what the actual story, I can't remember what the game was. I saw something and thought, this looks good. I was saying looks like my mate Alex. I don't know which one you were referring to. Again, I feel bad saying it, but the Admiral looks like an old male art professor. The map graphics are really nice though. Yeah, the maps are very, very functional. Roger's then saying maybe there are some future Habsburgers. And Ben saying the star map looks great as you can zoom in and out, and combat looks cool as well. So the future is inbred, says Oliver. And Ben saying it's a shame they didn't really sync up the quality of the different art styles in the game. Like the 3D is really good, but the 2D is not my cup of tea at all. Yeah, it depends on the artist that you have, I guess, that sort of is working on the game. And again, we're not talking about massive studios building these games. Yep, so Dusty Monks, I remember this, the story-based forex. Well, it doesn't have to be anymore. That's the for me the big exciting thing about it is you've got 4 different starts now with 4 different options of how you then play the game as well. So there's a lot more openness to the game than there's ever been before, which is great. So and Alex is in saying, sorry, I joined late. What game is this? This is the Pegasus Expedition, the one down in the bottom here, and this is the giveaway for today. So I've got a key to give away for this one. Actually, Dustin Monk's answering that one as well. Hi Axel, how you going? Actually, you did say, I think you just got the smile there. So do the choices that actually matter? I couldn't figure out if they changed the game at all. I think that they do because they give you different abilities and also different diplomacy as well. So Dusty Monk's saying some decisions matter. So Pickle Father Noodle saying Stellaris is more set up the cards and let things fall where they lay sort of game. This game seems like it has a bit more to it. Well, Stellaris is also random galaxies, random where you can sort of set things up with the actual galaxy itself. So you've got more procedural generation in the strategic elements of Stellaris, whereas you don't actually have that with the Pegasus Expedition. You are going into the Pegasus galaxy, and it's always the same map itself. Which I sort of, again, that would be something that I would like to see changed, like to have a different map. I don't know if the empires always start in exactly the same position. I would sort of half guess that they would, but I'm really not sure. Okay, so my 2 cents is in saying I started playing Surviving Mars again. I haven't played that one actually. That's Mars Tactics, so that must be soon coming. It's Mars Tactics is a game I'm really looking forward to, but I haven't heard anything about it for quite some time. We'll have to try to remember to have a look at that to see where that one will be. Miguel is saying apparently there is a game going to be released which is like Stellaris but based on Star Trek, so it should be good for fans. Actually, that would be good. That would actually be very good. Pickle Father saying, I tend to find story-driven narratives are great if they figure out a way to work a random generation into it. Yes, it's got to be. There's got to be sort of like in the game for me. The gold standard is Wildermyth. If we go and find Wildermyth, which really does an incredible. Yeah, this one here. Wildermyth is a game, and what I'll do is I'm just going to go back in. So we've done it. We've had a look at everything through there. I think we have. Actually, one thing before we go off, actually, I'll come back. Before I go and look at Wildermyth, Wildermyth, if you are wanting to have randomly generated stories, Wildermyth is exceptional. Like it really is. We'll go there. Wildermyth, there we are. Now again, this is Australian dollars, so ignore all this. But this is Wildermyth follows heroes over a whole careers from their pitchfork days, their powerful primes into old age and memory. It's party-based procedural storytelling. So procedural storytelling is the one through here. You can see they're overwhelmingly positive, 95% reviews, and a lot of people playing it. Incredible game, really amazing game, where it's. I guess the creatures don't change much. I hope that they flesh it out even more. But the actual characters and the stories that you have are like they've got packets of stories where you basically where it'll have different branching things within these components. The components are then sort of randomly shuffled and brought in. So it's very modular in the way it sort of does work, but it's done very, very well. So it's sort of like and they've been adding more and more of these little story events to it, which is great. Anyway, let's just go back to the Pegasus, because one thing I do like to have a look at is the negative reviews, which always give you an interesting take on things, particularly if they're well thought out. So I think we'll have a look at the negative reviews on this game as well. I'll just go and get rid of that. So I'll go through, because I think that often the negative reviews, more than the positive reviews, will give you a sense as to whether it's applicable to you, that sort of game. Okay, so Noble Terror saying, enjoyed the way Endless Legends did it. Have racial quest lines, but no obligation whether to follow it. Yeah, that's good if you don't have to follow them along. Pickle Father's then saying there was one great game where the narrative would shift and adapt in over a dozen ways if you did things at different times and if certain important characters died. Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about, but anyway, I've forgotten the name of you saying. So Dimmerson saying idiocracy in space, what like water from the toilet, plants crave electrolytes. Noble Two saying, oh man, that sounds great. Dusty Monks, I think you're referring to what Picklefather Nurgle was talking about. So, where are we up to? Banner Saga does that too, to a degree, says Roger. Picklefather saying, no, it's an isometric RPG type game. Okay, Serge is saying the main problem with these story-driven games is that they're usually worse than anything, almost any mediocre book. Yeah, that's the trouble. Like, it's very hard. Actually one game that really has a really, really good immersive feel, even though it's a random game, but it just feels like a story when you're playing it, is another space game, Stars in Shadow. And I don't know if I think there was still going to be more content coming for that one. They haven't developed that one for a long, long period of time. But that one was the story behind Stars in Shadow. Let's go and have a look at some of these before. I'll come back to Stars in Shadow again as well. But that is another one that where the diplomatic areas are almost preset the way it does work, and the way that they've actually built that game is just fantastic, like just in terms of the events and so on and so forth. It's still all random, all procedural. It doesn't actually have a story as such that drives it, but it might as well have. Battlemode's saying, I really like Stars in Shadow. I think it's an exceptional game, like an absolutely exceptional game, and the art is great too, says Ben. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute, because they ended up with a guy that had done a webcomic, and a very successful webcomic came in to actually help with the development of Stars in Shadow, and he set up the whole stories, all the characters, the artwork, the whole lot, and it really, really works incredibly well, just amazingly well. So, Ben's saying there is a new DLC in development, but it's taking a long time. Yeah, I thought there was, but it's been years, and I actually thought the game had been abandoned at one point. But I'm hoping it's not, because it really is an amazing game. Now let's have a look at the at the negative reviews. So there's Rob from Explorminate. Here we go. We've got now 7.8 hours on record. I always look at that just to sort of see, yep, is that enough time to really get a good feel for the game? And it is. Also, this was done on the 22nd of October, so less than a year, but it's still a long time ago, before they had these non-story driven things. So that's actually other one. So let's have a look at this one in through here. I'll just go and open this one up. This is quite involved, actually. Is it too involved? Is there any other negatives that we can actually have a look at? 5 hours. Yeah, pacing is horrible again. How much is it in this one? Not much. This was posted in March. This one's fairly recent. I guess the recent ones are going to be more applicable. Just see if there's any others where there's. But the top one does look very considered, but it's just going to take too much. I might just skim it, if that's okay. Can't recommend the game. The pacing is terrible. You start with one of 3 allied human factions escaping from Earth, yeah, blah, blah, blah. In the new galaxy, you proceed to use your fleets to conquer a galaxy-spanning empire. So it's just giving us the bit of the run-in through there. Each turn or close to it, you're forced into a cutscene with characters who comprise your fleet's leadership, with dialogue that you can't skip, and decisions that you have to make with both poorly, not at all communicated consequences. Well, that's what you get with stories. I mean, the whole idea with these story-driven campaigns is it doesn't give you much, because you need to come back for replay value, which is why I don't like them, to be honest. In the early game, it takes you but that for a lot of people is fun. So it's not for me, but that's other people would find that one to be good. In the game, it takes you 10 plus turns to get enough resources to repair one of your fleets, which can then take anywhere from 2 to 10 turns to finishing. So, clicking next over and over again. So just end of turn. Now, there are other games that suffer from this. What's another one that does this one a lot? I'm trying to think. Is it Galciv 4? Galciv 3, I think, had a similar sort of pacing issue, where you often we just go next, and then finally getting what you need built and then going off. But again, that happens with certain games. Eventually forced into a scripted war with a mission to gather ships at a specific location. Well, again, that's now been overcome with those 4 different starts. The dialogue straight up says that if you don't do this... So most of these things are all to do with the story. So we can get around that, except for this, the actual build-up is going to take time, which it's what you're going to have. After you've calculated the indicated star system, you repeat the process of spending... so greater than 10 turns healing your fleets to capture 1 to 4 enemy systems over and over. I got to turn 80 and spent no more than 10 of these 80 turns actually doing anything. So the highlight is that sometimes you capture star systems have a derelict which can be explored. You pick one of 4 to 5 entry points, and as you explore you get some kind of bonus or resource. So that sounds like it's a bit random. The game is 80% waiting on getting enough resources to heal. Blah blah blah. No, the game is already in early access, but the core mechanics of the game are poorly thought out. So this was a fairly long time ago. Now I don't know about the pacing as such. I haven't played the game long enough. But Ben was saying that he did actually enjoy the pacing of the game. So again, different people are going to have different sorts of results with this one. Several times I saw fleet cars displaying garbage text. Okay, that's early. I'm sure that would be fixed by now. There's been a lot of updates in the game. Multiple typos. Blah blah blah. Again, so I won't go through all of these. Okay, so repairing a fleet costs more than building the fleet from scratch because each repair is 100% the cost of the ship being repaired, plus the cost to restock munitions like nukes. Anyway, there's a lot of information there. Let's just go back up. What else were we going to look at with this one here? I wouldn't mind having a quick look before we go at the news articles for it. Where is it? Community Hub. Because just to give a bit like this, that was back in October. Okay, so Artbook and Soundtrack will enter these stores on June 20th. So again, that's with the actual base game. Are there difficulty options? Yes, there are. Actually, let's just go to news. It's controlled by the dev. Okay, leaves early access. So that was as I say, in 1 day time. Hot fixes in May. Yep. So we've got. Okay, so early access content update. You can see there's a lot. They've been doing a lot of work, like April in through there. So we've got hot fixes, we've got bug solutions. So it's very, very active, the development. And you look at the amount of stuff where you've got different... So they've been adding a lot of things since October. So maybe that it might be a little bit like all the negative things about the actual state of the game. It was early access, remember, and so they've been polishing all the way through. So and look, and I've found talking with the developers as well as they've been very, very responsive and very interested in what's going on with the game. So there we go. That was the day after that particular review. So first steps in early access and what's next for the Pegasus Expedition. So again, a lot of communication with the community, which is fantastic. So that's good stuff. So I think that a lot has changed with the game since that particular point in time. Let's just go back out. Let's go back to the store page, and we're going to look at another game. What was it? My goldfish brain has. I've lost track of it. We looked at Wilder Myth. There was another one we're going to have a quick look at, but I can't think of what it was. Oh, that's right. It was Stars in Shadow. Stars in Shadow. There it is. Very cheap at the moment. But it's old. It's an old game. So 2017. So, and if we just open this one up, you'll see from the art style just how it does actually look.
Long ago, the empire of our forefathers was shattered in a great war that plunged the galaxy into darkness. Now the ancient pathways between the stars have reawakened. Long-lost worlds await our return. The trials of the long night have strengthened our people. We are up to the challenge that lies before us. We will reclaim what was lost. We will rebuild what was destroyed. Our people must rediscover the ways of our ancestors and unlock their secrets, for we will need their tools in our endeavor. The reborn, the galaxy is still a hostile place. There are other tribes.
Tactical battles, there we go. Done really well, by the way.
If they cannot be encouraged to support our rightful claim, then we must persuade them with force. They will see that our cause is just, and we will rule with a fair hand. In the end, the galaxy can have only one master. Stars in Shadow, available now.
That gives you a feel. Random game. Everything is random, but everything's procedural. But you've got preset races that have got preset dispositions with each other. Not diplomacy, but actual just disposition. So things can still happen randomly. You've got different sorts of marauders and pirates and things like that as well, which have got an incredible flavour with the actual game itself. And as I say, on a procedural map, it really feels like you're playing a story every time you play it, and it is an amazingly good game. It's just funny because it just says mostly positive, 78%. Well, that's 80%, so pretty good game. Not very many people have played it, by the looks of it. Really, I mean, it's sort of funny because it's got an energy about it that most forex games don't have. You know how like when most space forex have got like a very dark, somber sort of mood to their user interface and their user experience. Stars in Shadow doesn't. It has a very, very bright and almost cartoon. Well, it is from a cartoonist who was very heavily involved, but it feels energetic. And the only other game I can think of that feels with the same sort of energy with the actual way it presents the user interface is actually Age of Wonders, the different Age of Wonders games, because they also have like a very, very rich color scheme, and Stars in Shadow does as well. So, yeah, the Curse of Iceberg Interactive, says Ben. Yep, so actually I missed a lot of the comments again, sorry guys. I think Stars in Shadow has great lore. This is Chris saying, whereas ISG is more of a typical space forex. Yeah, I think that you're right. I think that really the lore of Stars in Shadow is just so rich, even though there's only like 7 factions, I think, is all you've actually got that you can play, but they all play very, very differently. They've all got very different ways of actually sort of approaching things. They've got the races and their dispositions to events and things are really, really unique. And so if you have, like, for example, I forget what these guys are called, this particular one through here, but these are like most of the marauders and slavers come from this particular group. They've got no worries at all about enslaving people or anything like that, whereas some of the others really do, like, it impacts them very, very negatively and in a meaningful way when you play the game. Like, it really does matter. So it's interesting because it really does feel like you're playing a story, and when you actually do play it. As I say, it is random, and the tactical combat as well is it's all just sprite driven. Like, everything is just sprite driven from top down sprites, but it just works well. And as I say, you can see there the colour schemes and things actually do look good, with the way it sort of does look. And you've got choices as well when you're actually playing the game. It's it's one of those. It's one of the games, and I think the game that is the closest to it is Interstellar Space Genesis, or ISG, certainly in terms of the tactical battles. But the ISG has got much more scope in the way it sort of does play out, but it's got much less in terms of the richness of the story elements to it, and also the presentation. If this game, if you could combine the two games and had the engine of ISG with the graphics and I guess the flavour of Stars in Shadow, it would just be incredible. Because ISG doesn't look that great, but it does play very, very well, and it does play better as a strategy game than Stars in Shadow does. But Stars and Shadow has really got a very, very nice flavour about it. So anyway, that's a different sort of game that does story without doing story, I guess. That's really all we were having a look at through there. Okay, so yeah. So Chris is then saying, yeah, I think we did that one there. Whereas ISG is more typical space forex. Yes, it is. Yep, similar games though. Yeah, I think they're probably the closest to each other. I like Stars and Shadow better for some reason. That said, ISG is different, and it's also very good. Says Battle Mode. Jimerson saying the October review is too old. They fixed. Yes, I agree with you. I think that when we went back and had a look at that one, we saw all of the news articles from the Pegasus Expedition that really did fix a lot of what we were sort of seeing through there. Yeah, so that's sort of where we were there. Just go back out to the store page. So I'll just leave that one there and get rid of that. Okay, so Colin Hans is sitting there saying Dynasty Empires. Dynasty Empires doesn't really have a story. It doesn't promote a story. It really is just a tactical sort of strategy type game, like where you're just presenting a scenario to then fight. Fight tactically, basically, and so it doesn't really push a story along. And I'm just trying to think. Well, the closest game to Dynasty Empires is Age of Wonders. Age of Wonders is now doing a lot more in terms of trying to develop a procedural narrative when you do play it, but nothing like Stars and Shadow. Again, Stars and Shadow is sort of like out in its own little area. I do hope that they keep on developing both Dynasty Empires though and Stars in Shadow. That would be good. Okay, so Noble Tour saying I enjoyed Star Dynasties well enough for example, but I would actually play but would actually have enjoyed a bit more in the way of direct interaction. Come to think of it, yes, Star Dynasties was an interesting game. There is another game like that coming out soon. I forget what it's called. But just saying, actually, that's probably my one gripe with that game. It felt kind of hands off in a way. And Dusty Monk saying, I can't find the fleet repair too onerous in Pegasus Expedition, but I did have a most successful battles. I imagine it can snowball badly if you lose one too many battles. Yeah, I haven't played enough of the game to be able to comment. Sorry, I'm missing stuff. Yep, so Jimerson saying, yeah, Stars and Shadow is a gem if you must play it. I think I may have missed a few other things. She's been saying 2017 is old. It is old. It's old for games. So it's sort of, I mean, it's still fun, but it's not like a, yeah, it's I mean, it's not classic, but it's old. Okay, Noble just saying, I come to think of it, any idea if Star Dynasty is going to get more DLC at some point? I've got no idea, although I did see a comment there. No, I can't see anyone else actually answering that one. Music is good for this game. Yeah, it's, as I say, the actual flavour of the game. I mean, you got to think, like Stars and Shadow did actually have a really accomplished comic artist involved, very heavily involved in the development. Not just coming in as a and not just the artwork, but also the story. So the artist that they actually employed was integral to the actual development of the game, not just an art asset person that came in to sort of work with an existing direction. He actually set the direction for the story elements, and that was, I think, a genius thing to do. Okay, so I've been saying it's one of the better game AIs in Space Forex. They had to dial it back as it was crushing people. It's been Stars and Shadow. Stars and Shadow was very, very hard. Like it still is a hard game. And people are saying Endless Space 2 flashbacks, soothing and somber orchestral music starts playing. Yeah. This game had a very uplifting, the new age of discovery begins now vibe. Actually, I guess the Pegasus Expedition does feel a little bit like Endless Space to me. And I didn't really like Endless Space, to be honest, because of the lack of tactical battles. It's the same reason I don't really love the Galactic Civilizations games. I enjoy them more than Endless Space. But I don't enjoy them as much as, Distant Worlds 2 for me is now the gold standard in terms of Space Forexes. I've been having a lot of fun actually playing that over the previous weeks, actually, just on and off, just playing the same game over and like not over and over, but just developing it more and more. And it's been really, really interesting, that particular run. This has been my most fun run of Distant Worlds 2, actually, the one I've been streaming on Twitch. thoroughly enjoying it. There's all sorts of little, again, Distant Worlds can present story elements to you in an unusual sort of way without it meaning to. Okay, where are we up to? The Gremac, the Cobra guys. Okay, that's the Cobra looking guys. Tenor is saying 1 more month until Xenonauts 2 launches. It'll be in early access though where they limit the available content. Yeah, that will still be good. I'm still looking forward to that a lot actually. I didn't realise it was only 1 month away, so that'll be good. Battlemate saying the humans are a difficult faction too as they start out homeless. Yes, the humans are a really hard start in what was it called again? Stars in Shadow. Yep, so Stars in Shadow back in through there. Because of they are the hard start. Tenor was saying it's on the 18th of July for Xenonauts 2. So Brad Fleegle was saying, just coming in, good morning. Battlemate, I think I was watching one of your videos on Shadow Empire profiles. Very helpful if you're the same guy. It would be. Yes, it's the same person. Ben was saying, thanks. Was that one with Daz too? I did two podcasts for Shadow Empire. Actually, Shadow Empire is another game we have to talk about today. Big updates come for that one this week, so we'll talk about that one just briefly, but we'll just go through what's actually come through with that one. Okay, so Brad is saying, I didn't realise the profiles give bonuses in my previous games. I just thought that they gave cards that I mostly ignored. Yeah, they do a lot of things actually in the game. They do a hell of a lot. So Colin Hans is saying, Dotty Empires for idle turns, not story. Yes, but still an amazing game. Very, very good game. Lines of the Floating Suns is that's the one. It's a Star Dynasty-like game, but it's actually quite different in game design. Yes, and it's going to be much more detailed. Dimmerson saying Xenonauts 2 and Falling Frontier are 2 titles I'm so stoked for. Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement. Hi Drexy, how you going? Actually, we'll have a quick look at the Ashes score. How are we going? We are 3 down. Oh no, and it's now 50-50. Wow, this is going to go right down to the wire now. That's bad. So okay, I won't keep on looking at that. So you mentioned the procedure generation in Age of Wonders 4. I would like it if they create events that interacted with your opponents more. And I think it does need more of that, like where there is something where it's a bit more. Whoops, sorry, I've got the wrong thing open there. Where it does need more of that sort of stuff. Ben's saying, thanks for the support stuff there, Brad. Very much appreciated. So perhaps some like they're in Solaris and Crusader Kings, we can get an event, I think it must be, involves AI player factions, or make procedural quests. Yeah, it's a bit, here's a random quest for you to go and do type thing at the moment, Age of Wonders 4. Now, tomorrow is also going to be the launch of the Age of Wonders 4, which we did a lot of work on, last week, just having a look at it all, but that's going to be also the release there. There's a lot of things happening tomorrow, actually. So we've got the Pegasus Expedition, which is going to be the giveaway for tonight, or not tonight, but basically at the end of this particular stream, we do actually have. I will get rid of the Ashes score because now I'm going to be wanting to check on it. So we've got so that's the Pegasus Expedition. There's other things that have actually happened this week. So we've got the Age of Wonders 4, and that's the Dragon Dawn DLC. This one comes out tomorrow. So, release date 20th of June. Is that, well, if that's saying 20th of June, that means it may be released soon? Oh, yeah, plans to unlock in 19 hours. Okay, so we've still got 19 hours before this DLC does come through. This has been an amazing DLC, by the way. It really has added a lot to the game. I've had a lot of enjoyment with it. Also, by the way, with what I've done with this now, have I logged in? Yeah, I have logged in here. If we just go across into the community hub for this one and just go to workshops, haven't played much with the with everything, but if we just go to collections, So I now have my own ChatTactic Age of Wonders 4 mod collection. So if you're wanting to sort of see what I'm currently playing with, and I'll try to keep this one updated, but I do actually now have this one in here. So this is the mods that I'm using with Age of Wonders 4. So I'll just quickly go through these. So Age of Colours, which I really, really like a lot. The Age of Tomes. Now, I haven't played much with these, but these look like they're really, really well fleshed out. So these are, we've got all sorts of different tomes that have been added in by a modder, Eric DB. Banner Bonanza, just get more banners in there. I want to build my own, but at the moment, the version of the game I have doesn't actually have the mod tools. So I do want to get some ChatTactic stuff in there, some of my own graphics in there. Bigger, better maps as well. I'm liking this one, where you can go sort of like larger with the actual maps as well. The culture-based tome units. Haven't played with this one much. This one here I'm fairly happy with because it's more just cosmetic. I don't like adding in extra units that are missing from the different cultures, because I like the cultures to have a unique feel. And there is actually another mod which I don't actually have it loaded, but it's a very, very popular mod where it actually fleshes out the cultures by adding in them essentially the missing components, but it then sort of stops them being unique in my opinion. But these actually then just change the look of them a little bit. So culture-based tome units. So these are going to they've just done, the modder here has done more work just to sort of make them look good. Difficulty settings explained. I quite like this one actually. It just goes through exactly what the changes are with each difficulty. Extended name length. I did that one for it when I'm doing like Dasdemption Twitch streams. Forms have traits back and through here. This is interesting. What this one does is that the forms themselves come in with a base trait. So orcs are bigger and stronger, and they come in with that immediately, and then you still choose 2 other traits after that. So it means you've essentially got 3 traits, and one of them is locked in stone. So, and I really quite like the feel of that one, but I haven't played it much because they haven't got the lizard men in yet. So that will then have to be updated with the lizard men for when they're available. Massive maps and 12 players. Again, this sort of works in well with the bigger, better maps. It's sort of this takes it to a really, really big format, but then the other one gives you a few steps in between those. More realm traits in through this side as well. Just gives you a few. Doesn't add a hell of a lot, to be honest, but just gives you a few little world creation things. More aggressive AI. This was actually mentioned in the in my Twitch, in my Discord, where I think it was for Ebenholz actually, who's in chat, had mentioned this particular one where it makes the AI much more likely to come after you, which I think is good because at the moment it's too passive. So I haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to trying that one out. Navy's Remastered just makes them sort of cheaper, stronger type thing. Raise Ruins Essential mod. I don't know if they're going to be changing that one. I've tried to test it with the new Wyvern update, which is also coming out tomorrow. So the Wyvern update and the Dragon DLC will be coming at the same time. And the Wyvern update is a free update, but I still think you need to have this if you're wanting to get rid of any ruins on the actual map itself. Skip the intro video. I got a bit sick of it, so just got rid of that one. Super slow speed. This is how you can actually go with a really, really slow development if you're wanting to, which I tend to like those sort of games. Tomes of the Timberwood, again, a series of tomes which look pretty cool. Winning personalities back into here, so it changes the AI personalities so that their preferences and strategies are more aligned with winning the game. So again, should make them a bit more aggressive. Wondrous Item Pack. I've enjoyed this one actually. So this one adds 60 new items, which you can then sort of find when you open things up. And they do seem meaningful actually, which I quite like. And then I haven't really tried this one yet. I've only just loaded this one in, but this one does just change. So you can see how much actual XP is left to actually go. And this is one of the things, I don't know why they didn't do this in the actual base game. I hope that they change it. It's something that people have been complaining about, is not knowing how much XP there is before you then get the next level up. This one just fixes that one up for you. So anyway, that's the mod pack that I've got. So if you do want the same mod pack, I'll be updating these as I test things and as I sort of start to play with them. So this will be sort of something I do over time. If we just go back out again. And I've also got one. There was a question earlier about Age of Wonders 3, and I would highly recommend the mod pack I've got for that game as well. So this is really, really old, in 2014, but no, this is actually still a very, very good game. So if you are having trouble with Age of Wonders 4, and I haven't played the vanilla version of Age of Wonders 3 for a long, long period of time. But again, if you just go into the community hub, go into workshop, go to browse and collections, and then you've got ChatTactic's Empire and Heroes collection, which essentially it's the highest rated collection group. And this is again my favourite mods in through here as well. So like a lot of these are just cosmetic, but there are a few that are really, really important. A lot of these actually really change the map and make them much, much better than what they were. The Empire building mod and through here, all of these things actually are very important. The extended settings, so you've got more map options, which I like. This is the one. This is luckless halflings. Gets rid of the luck from the halflings. Without that, Age of Wonders 3 is unplayable if you've got halflings in it. So more colours more colours in through there. What else is there in this one that's important? Chivalrous Intentions. This is over 400 different new units have been added into the game. And whereas it wouldn't work the way that they've actually structured Age of Wonders 4, like that would just make it all bland. But in Age of Wonders 3, it works very, very well. So Chivalrous Intentions is a must-have in there as well. So anyway, that's that one through there. So we'll leave that one. Just go back to the store page. Now, another game that launched this week, and I do want to talk a little bit about it because it's a game that they don't get enough love, actually, and this is the combat mission games. So let's have a look at this. Now, I know why they don't get much love. It's because of their price. They're very, very expensive. And this is Australian dollars, of course, so it's going to be less than that one. But the one that just came out is Red Thunder. Now, at the moment, it's a little bit off at the moment. So you got the Red Thunder complete at 24% off, but it's still over $100 Australian. But you are at least saving a bit of money if you do want to grab this one. But the Red Thunder did come out this week. I do mean to make a video on it because again, it's an exceptional game. Like if you do like World War II style things, this is more of the Eastern Front from 1944 into 1945, and there are a few DLCs as well. So you've got you've got the basic Red Thunder pack in through here, which is actually I don't know what it would normally be, but these are all 15% off. It looks like if you get the full bundle there, you get the 24%. I'm not sure why it's coming in like that, but anyway. And you've got a Battle Pack 1 and Fire and Rubble as well, which then sort of takes you more into the battle for Berlin. So it sort of then takes you closer into Germany, this particular battle pack and through this side. One of the things I have never really noticed with the game, I've never really understood, and I might just fire it up just to sort of show it, because it's sort of one of these things where I don't like building maps. I like to have random maps. And you can play the quick battles in here, which feels like they're random maps because you can do different things with those. But the game itself, like every single bullet is essentially modeled in the game. And it's modeled very, very well. Like it's not just a straight line. It actually does drop. So you've got all these different strategies that are very, very real world type stuff when you're actually playing any of the combat mission games. They model everything brilliantly. So it's in fact they use the combat mission engine. NATO uses it for training their officers because there's certain things that they've actually been able to put into it, not in the game versions of it, but they do actually use the same the combat mission style of things to actually then sort of do special training for NATO, which is interesting. Anyway, let's just open this one up and I'll just show you. It's funny because that's Red Thunder there. It's really crappy icons. You look at like Second Front, for example, which again, I mean, it doesn't model the same sort of stuff that that Combat Mission does, but it's just got that's got a good icon, and then you've got these Combat Mission games that look really shitty. Okay, so there's in the scenario editor, one thing you've actually got with all the battle packs and things is something that I've never even come across before, but I was just playing around with it the other day and just stumbled across it. So if you go back in and load in, you can start by loading in what they call master maps, which are, I've never seen these before. There's basically, they've brought in about 10 per pack, so the base game has got 10 of them. So if you are a map maker or a modeler, you can see there these ones, the BP ones, all come in with the Battle Pack 1. The Fire and Rubble ones have got FR in front of them. Actually, there's a lot of those as major packs. Some of these aren't that big, but some of them actually are. I'm not going to even start trying to open up Berlin or anything like this. This will just it'll probably take an hour to open up, because it's actually, these can be, I think, up to 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers in size. But if you are a map maker, if we just go to I don't know what this is going to be. I'll just do Orsha Map 3 as an example. If we go across and have a look at the 3D preview of the map itself, so what you can actually do is have a look, and so you've got these pre-built maps that do come in. Hopefully this won't have a city in it or anything like that. If there's a city, it does take a long time to actually load it all in. But if you're into actually making maps, then this may be of interest to you. So we'll just go back down. What have I missed? Yep, so Ben was saying they're expensive, but man, they're worth it. They really are. There's no other games like it that really do sort of model combat, and they've got from World War II essentially all the way up through to modern day. They've got like different Cold War versions. It uses the same engine, the actual the combat mission engine. I think it's engine 4 they're up to now. And so essentially when you get a game pack, you're getting the models that go into the actual engine itself, with all of the parameters for the different sorts of detail, with the the armaments and the armor itself. Even the slope of the actual tanks themselves is important to sort of like it actually, depending on where a bullet or a shell actually hits a piece of equipment, it will then sort of be able to, it'll then have to figure out what actually damage is done from that one. Actually, this is taking a long time because it's there must be I must have chosen one that's got like a village or something in it. I'm guessing because this is taking a long period of time. Here we go. So this is so if you are a map maker, you can actually use these master maps to sort of get started. I'll just press number 4. Yeah. So this is a big one. If I press number 5 and sort of zoom back out, so you can see how big the actual this is. We've got like a village in the middle through here. As I sort of come back through, I'll just press number 4 again. But you can, if you're wanting to build a map and have this as your starting point, you can actually then just go and have a look around on these master maps. And so these are based on real terrain, and they'll tend to have, if we get down to ground level, this one here is all very, very flat. But sometimes, there's a slight, see how there's a very, very slight rise there, which can actually have a bearing in the combat, like, depending on what actually happens, so as you come back through into here. But overall, this particular area is very, very flat. And of course, most of the combat that's taking place into here is in Poland and in very, very flat terrain anyway. So we're not going to see a lot of different things sort of happening with this particular map. But if you are a map maker, as I say, if there's something that you're wanting to sort of play with, you don't have to go and build your own map if you don't want to. You can actually just go back out, just press escape, come back in. And if you go across to, is it data? No, not data. Terrain objectives. No, it's not those. If we just go back to map. Yeah, so this is the actual map itself. So if I zoom out, that's the this is the actual map that's been built. So if you, as I say, if you are into map making, there's a little river. So let's just say you wanted to have like a, take the river crossings. There's another one in through there as well. Let's just make it so we wanted to build a little map there, like a little mission. You've then got the different things. This one goes from 5.6 kilometers through to 3 kilometers. So if I press shift and then start to press minus, just I'm bringing this one through. Yep. So it's now 3 kilometers wide. And I'll just go and open that one up a little bit from that side. So let's just say we start on that little hill through there with little village. I don't know what that village actually is, and through that side. And then from the other side, I can then sort of also just clip it in. Again, if I just press shift, it then goes in bigger areas. So that's going to be about in the middle with the actual maps, sorry, with the way both of those. I'll just go a little bit less there. So it's about 1 kilometre across, 1.1 kilometres. And then, of course, we can then just do the same and just take it up from the base. So if that was going to be the starting point for a map, you can then just use these real-world locations. Now if we go back into the 3D preview, and I won't build an actual way to do it. It's fairly involved to actually build an actual map, but you can still build the quick combat maps. If we just press number 3 and just zoom around a little bit, actually I'll press number 4, you can then sort of see what happens. So that map, we now have chosen an interesting little scenario where there's some crossings. So there's a crossing through here, like a little bridge, and then there's an island in the middle through there. Is it an island? Where's the other bridge? There it is. So we've got this bridge in through here as well. So that would then be the start of like a bit of a campaign and another bridge back at the back there. So you've got 3 bridges in here where if you were playing the game, you then have to sort of try to figure out, okay, what would the objective be? Maybe it's going to be this island. So that would be, you then sort of could build a scenario where the goal is to grab the island, or maybe even have like 3 objectives across here, and the game allows you to do a lot of stuff. So if I just go back up to number 5, so again that's actually that was a pretty interesting little area that we actually then chose there. And again, you just choose where you want your forces to sort of start from across the actual map. So in this case, yeah, you probably I probably would have. Yeah, that was that hill that we were looking at through there. Actually, it's not a hill. It's just forest. So I think this is all very, very flat. If we just press number 1, have a bit of a look around. There's the river. Is it the river? Yeah, it's but it's so detailed. This particular game. There's that bridge that goes across. Then across into the other part of it in through there. But here we go. We've got a bit of a rise here now. So a little bit of a, but the rises in this particular battle map aren't very big. Oh, dead horse. Okay, don't know what happened to the horse there, but anyway, that's just sitting there. But somebody has like gone through and built these big battle maps, and you can then just pick and choose a little portion of them to then make your own map. So I thought I'd actually just show that because it's something that I haven't really come across before, these master maps as such. We'll exit out of that one. But this is an amazing game. Not very popular, but it really is an amazing game. So that's just come out this week. I thought I'd show that because if you are into making scenarios or anything like that, also actually with the scenario editor, if you wanted to sort of go and create your own, like if you wanted to sort of go and I'll just make sure everything's sort of clear. If we go into the actual map itself, we can build. Now, the first one is only 320 metres by 320 metres. This is just going to be grass essentially in through this side, but I'll just very quickly sort of go through the way it sort of works. If we have sort of like a bit of a rocky terrain in through this side, I'll just grab a little bit of a bigger way of sort of painting this one. So if we had like just a bit of rocks that sort of ran through the middle of the actual map itself, and there's so much you can do through here. I won't use that one so much. The ground itself, there's different sorts of crops. So when you see the numbers, that's just referring to the crop type. So if there's, and this will then give you different ways for troops to sort of then go and hide inside it. You've got things, for example, like you've got, of course, different sorts of buildings. You've got the houses, commercial type buildings, barns. So if you had like a barn in through there, different types of barns as well. So you can throw a barn in through there as a different type. Let's just go this way. And again, you've got the different facing. So if you had like a facing coming back down that way, so you now with the entry point would sort of be on the other side. Roads are also done pretty well. So again, if you're into doing these sorts of things, if we had like a dirt road that was going to come through, now one thing you've actually got is you've got like a button here which will allow you it will then sort of try to build depending on where you click. So it will actually sort of then create like a road that it will try to figure its own way through. So you can then sort of have like if we've got the other barn that sort of comes back down the other way potentially. It's a bit ugly, this one. So probably have to sort of clean that one up, but you get the idea. And then if we wanted to make that into a bit of a hill, then you've got like you've also then got elevations as well. And again, the look, it's all just sort of fairly simple. Like if we have direct elevation, these are all elevation of 20 coming back in through this side. This one goes to direct, and you can set these ones up. Like if we wanted to make this one a little bit higher in through this particular hill, I can just use the plus and have like a direct, say 27 in through there, so it's going to be a little bit higher through the actual hill. Let's just make a bit of a ridge line that then sort of extends down through this area. So that would then sort of have the 27. In fact, it's made the whole thing go 27. Let's just go and make it go back down to say 20 again. And we'll just go and have it so that the 20 comes back out this other sort of side. You can see there it goes from 20 up to 27. The other side as well. We'll just make this one go a little bit higher. 22. And we can then even dip down even lower. So let's just make it go down. So it's going to be fairly steep and goes down to 12. Back down this other side. And just go back up. So you can sort of, it's very, very cool, like being able to sort of set up whichever way you want the thing to look. So if we now go back across into the 3D preview of what we just built, it's, as I say, for those of you that like doing map making and stuff, this is what we've just built. So if we just go back and press number 3, as an example, I didn't put any, there's that ugly roads that we've got. It's a bit of a shitty look to it. So we've got our barn through there. We've got the different sorts of crops. We can sort of see through there. We've got that ridge line that runs across with the rocks on top. So very, very quick and easy to be able to then build what you want with that road that then sort of heads on down. So you'd then be able to sort of set up like a very, very small scenario if you're wanting to. And you can also make them into random scenarios. You just got to sort of set things up a little bit as to what you want the AI to do. But it's, again, very simple to do, very simple to build. And one of the great things about this one is if you do go and decide, actually, I really do want to have, I want it bigger, then you can just go and add, more stuff into it wherever you sort of need them to be. So it's very cool the way that the game actually does work. So anyway, I thought I'd just show that one from a map making perspective, which is probably a bit nuanced, but anyway, it is there. And there's a lot of maps for the game that you can download as well. But the actual, for me, the combat is unbelievable in this game. It really is just amazing. I think of all the World War II games, in terms of realism, you really can't go beyond the combat mission games. They're just so detailed. In fact, not just World War II, but all the way right up until up to the modern era. I mean, they've got the this is Shock Force 2, which is sort of in Syria. You've got Black Sea, which is in Ukraine, essentially. So you've got like that sort of modern combat mission. This is Cold War. This is set in the 1980s. So there's a lot of different sorts of things in through here. So now let's just leave that one through there. So hi CB saying hello from Arizona. Based on Battle Mode and Daz's videos, I've bought Shadow Empire weeks before Age of Wonders 4 launch. I've been playing Shadow Empires about 4 times more than Age of Wonders 4. Got to finish my current planet and get back to Age of Wonders 4. It's like that, and in fact they've now improved it again. Shadow Empires has got some big changes that have just come in this week. Particularly if you haven't been playing the opt-in beta. I might just show what it's got because sorry, I'm missing a lot of the comments here. Actually, I'll just read anyone that's sort of done an ChatTactic, and I'll just sort of read those out. So Axel's saying combat mission is great. You should do more war games. I have a feeling you would really enjoy Total Tank Generals. I don't know that one, actually. I don't know that one. But I love the realism of combat mission. I love how like it really is. It's not random maps as such, but you can you can play the quick battles, which have got like full-on battle tactics. In fact, I'll show you this one as well. If you're again into map making and or anything like this sort of stuff, even if you're trying to figure out what the game does, you can actually go back in and you can open up even just a random quick battle and see what the developers have done, or the map makers have done with it. You can go to the scenario editor, and this will then show you how to think about building a map, which I think is really, really cool. So if you go into load, so you've got the campaigns, you've got the scenarios, but you've also then got your quick battle maps. And so the quick battle maps have got, and these will always have something like, for example, forest rural, they've got assault, attack, meat, probe, and so they've got like the different types of attacks that then can be done in each of these. Like if we go to a meeting engagement in forest rural, for example, and open that one up, and then have a quick look at the 3D preview, which this one shouldn't be too long because it doesn't have buildings. Buildings take a long period of time. So we'll just have a quick look. Just press number 4. And so this one has been sort of structured. And so you've got, like, for example, they've got objectives in through here. West Farm is one, and East Farm. And so this is a meeting engagement where each side will end up with an objective, and then the idea is to go and get the objective from the other side. So even though it's a random battle, when you play it, it's in the sense that, like it's you don't really know what you're going to be getting. The objectives will be that one of you will have this farm and one of you will have the other farm. And so if we go and press escape and then have a look and see what they've done, if we have a look at the, where is it? I forget where everything actually is, the terrain objectives. And so this will then sort of show the various objectives. I'll just go back out so we can view a little bit less. So this is this is 1.6 kilometres by 1 kilometre wide. And so these here, you can sort of see that they've got the different objectives coming back through. Now that's showing all. There may be different objectives. This is objective number 1, and that's objective number 2. So that's they're the different objectives that they actually have. So for the Allied forces. So and the other side will have pretty much the same sort of stuff as well. If we go to the terrain objectives for the Axis player, again it's going to have this objective 1, objective 2. So they've got 2 different objectives there for each of the players. So each player has their own objective. But where the game is interesting is that you've then actually got the setups. Actually, where is the setups? Parameters? No, that's nothing. Mission, data, description. No, that's nothing there. If we go to map, and is it map? No, it's the AI. When you go to AI, you've then got other things. You've got the setup zones in through this other side. And then you've got different plans you can then use. You don't have to use all of them, but you do actually have different sorts of plans that you need then have for for setting up different things. Like, for example, there was one over through here. So this plan 4 is used sometimes with the Axis. So they've got the setup in through that particular phase. And what this one does is it directs the AI onto how to play your map. So it makes it more clever. Now you can just have it as a very, very simple one where you just start and then just go to the objectives, wherever the objectives might actually be. But in this case, you've got use sometimes, you've got group, the group is going to be group 1, group 2 is down through here, group 3 is in the middle there. So you can actually have the different sorts of groups. So they're not using group 4, but they've got group 1, 2, and 3. If we go to group 3, which is the middle group, we can then sort of see the setup phase. This is where they're allowed to set up. They then go into order 2. They don't have an order 1. Which means that that's actually all that group's going to do is just go in and actually stop at that particular point. So so there is no order 3. So that's actually all that they've actually got. If we go to group number 1, so group number 1 has got a series of orders. So the map designer has told whichever group happens to be in this particular area, it's then going to try to move out to this location, And at that location, it's then going to not dismount anybody. It's going to still just be doing normal attacks, etc., etc. It's order 2. Order 3 will then move up into here. Again, avoiding the open terrain and staying in the forest. Again, no real changes to what it's sort of doing. Order 4, it then moves up to this road in through this other side. Again, no changes down through this other side. Order 5, it's now starting to spin around towards the objective. And then order 6 will be, is then set, if it can get into this location here, it will then set itself to ambush. And it will then just sit there at that point and wait for the enemy to come back. So Group 2 will take this objective and hold it. Group 1 will go this way. Group 3, again, it's just the way that they've sort of done it. Actually, that's Group 3. Where's Group 2? Group 2 set up down through that side. And that one's also got then a series of orders as well that's going off the other side. So that they'll then go through, hang on, Group 2, Order 2, up to Order 6, where they then take this part of the objective. So it's quite clever. Again, if you are sort of wanting to sort of see how the game is structured, you can actually then go and reverse engineer. So you can then figure out, okay, what's the AI likely to do on a particular map? Well, we know exactly what the AI is going to do based on these groups. So, I mean, it's sort of cheating if you are looking at a particular battle, but if you are trying to figure out how to build your own maps, these are great because they show you how these random maps are sort of put together, which is awesome. You then actually have much more detailed with the scenarios. These quick battles don't really have units that have been applied, so they're not really. It's just groups of units essentially. But if you go and if we go and load in, if I just go back up to the mission and just load in one of the other, can I go back out? I don't know if I can do that actually. Oh, here we go. If I go to an actual scenario and then open up one of the other ones, they're going to have other things. I won't go into it anyway, but these are the actual scenarios where everything has been scripted. The actual units that you're playing with, what they're going to do, the whole lot. So it goes into a lot of detail. Again, I thought I'd just show it because no one ever shows the map making part of Combat Mission, but it really is not. It's not onerous to actually get what you want. CB is saying, yes, I opted into the beta branch of Shadow Empire. The blueprint design is nice. Still trying to figure out using air forces. Seems to waste so much ammo and fuels for so few kills. It's not about the kills. Don't use... if you're playing Shadow Empire, let's actually have a look at Shadow Empire because that one has also now got a lot of things that are now sort of happening. So if we go to Shadow Empire... Yeah, so we'll just have a quick look at this one through here. Shadow Empire, there's different sorts of units. The units that are going to get the kills are actually your tanks. Your armor is going to be the thing that actually gets the kills. The aircraft is mainly used for recon, like to raise the recon, and also to get some kills against certain types of units. So don't think about using the aircraft for anything other than combined arms. I mean, you can certainly sort of, like if you're going up against marauders or animals, they're great for killing those off. But against an actual, like another player, it's not going to do you much good. But if you need to make sure that your actual attack that's going in with troops and with tanks and stuff and so on and so forth needs to be successful, you need to get their recon level as high as you possibly can before you do the main attack. And that is what aircraft are absolutely ideal for. She's been sort of saying that bombers are powerful. Bombers are good. What they're good at is suppressing cities and suppressing locations. And so you can then use it. Similarly with artillery. Artillery is not really there to kill off units. Artillery is there to upset units, and same with bombers. So bombers are essentially artillery, airborne artillery. And so what they do is they don't really do much in terms of the recon. So the fighter bombers will do the recon. Anything at a low level will actually do very, very good recon for you before you go in. So for example, if you're going to be using artillery, if you don't have high recon going into an actual attack area, then the artillery used into that is going to be very, very ineffective. If you know what's there and where everything is actually hidden, and you do that through either attacks with armoured cars or attacks with fighter bombers, things like that, where you can sort of get the recon up very, very high, and then do an artillery strike, it's going to be much, much more effective. Now, it still may not get the kills that you're looking for. What it may do is actually just get the suppression, lower the morale of the troops, lower their entrenchment, but may not get any actual kills. But then the game is really designed that the ground forces and tanks are there to do the damage. Now, things like bombers and artillery are also great against cities because they can actually destroy buildings. So you can actually go and wipe out the infrastructure of the AI by doing that one through there. So so you can, Benson's saying they drastically drop enemy effectiveness. Yeah, that's the. But again, the more recon you have before you start using any of those forces, the much, much more effective it actually is. So think of it. I always think of the Air Force, and I mainly use fighter bombers or fighter craft essentially with a goal to give me very, very high recon on terrain, but not so much to kill it. Now, if you're playing with the Oceania DLC, then aircraft is extremely useful at going up against the amphibious forces that, the amphibious creatures that are just sitting off your shoreline, because that's the only thing that really can sort of kill them off fairly effectively. Been saying, I've not used strategic bombing much in Shadow Empire. Do you use it then? No, I don't. I tend to, by that stage, it's the tanks as well will also then just do damage as well. But for damaging buildings, I have done it occasionally, but only when I really have needed to. So I've been saying I might need to do that in the multiplayer game I'm playing. Yeah, it's what it does is it completely stops the production in cities. And so if you're there for a long siege, like if you basically got a position where you can't break through, because the game is very much favours defence. So if you can't break through, then suppression and destruction of infrastructure in cities is really, really viable. But one of the things that's happened with the new update for Shadow Empire is that they've actually now made flak guns and things like that, surface-to-air missiles, I think, are even more powerful. So you now have to really figure out the best way of actually taking something out. So it's becoming more, not more complex, but just more intricate, I guess, in the sense of how you then got to use your combined arms. And it is a game of combined arms, really. It's a for me, it's still very much like a war game. Shadow Empire is a deep turn-based forex war game with a unique blend of military focus, procedurally generated content. It's one of the best games for that. Anyway, what have they got? If we go to the community hub, and they've now just brought out version D. So this is a major update, which just came a couple of days ago. So welcome back. So this one is the version 1.21D update. The new major update for Shadow Empire is out now and ready for you. So the update brings fixes and improves many long-standing issues with gameplay. AI has been much improved. Now the AI was already very, very good. So this is going to make it even more difficult. Blueprint has been added to the management screen, which is fantastic. That makes it really very, very viable now to plan all sorts of different things, not just aircraft, but mainly for aircraft. And the statistics tab has been improved, and you can now disable or enable specific dimensions. That, for me, is not really all that exciting, to be honest. I haven't seen anything great with that one. With these new additions, players will be able to experience Shadow Empire like never before. But that's not all. Yeah, to change log at this link. Does the link work? I don't know if it works properly. Okay, it takes you to this particular one. Now, this is, it's you can see that there's all sorts of different things that have been added into it. There was a few in here that were important. A lot of these are just, you won't really notice them. The Blueprint tab is the big one, though. But look, I would strongly suggest, if you can see there's a lot of stuff. A lot of different things in through here. There's heaps of stuff in this particular, if this one in through here. He's just an absolute beast with what he does with the with actually the the development of the game. Yeah, so added air pressure in millibars to the geology plant. I love that actually, just because you can then you can pick and choose whether it's going to be viable early on for aircraft. But anyway, it's that there for many of us. We've been playing that for a long period of time, and what I'd suggest that you do, I'll just open up my Steam library so you can sort of see it. This is just on Firefox. Is it opening up? There it is. Doesn't want to open. There it goes. All right, so I would strongly suggest you do this. Just go to your library, go to Shadow Empire, up here somewhere. Where are you? That's gone the other way. Shadow Empire, and just go across. God, I hate the way it does this. So when you're in there, just right click on it, go to Properties, go to Betas, and opt into the Open Beta. So just opt into that one through there. So I've got a few other ones there that I've had to unlock at different times, but the Open Beta is the one that everyone can access it, and so then the game keeps on updating as Vic makes the changes. It then updates for you. So for a lot of us, we've had a lot of these changes for weeks and weeks. Whereas but if you're not actually opting in, it's only going to be every so often when there's these major updates come through that it'll all be lumped together and then presented. But I've never had a problem with stability with this open beta, so I just absolutely love it. But yeah, this is the next major update, which has just come out on June 16th, so only a couple of days ago. It's actually saying playing Shadow Empire right now. There we go. It's one of the best games around. It really is just amazing. So now, what else are we going to talk about today? I had a list of things, but I've forgotten. I should write them down. I had a list of things in my mind, or in my brain, which is not a good thing. But yeah, no, it's a game that don't assume that the firepower of a unit means that unit will be effective at all things. It really is. Everything is very nuanced. I don't know if I think I've got a game that's just fairly well developed. It's been a few weeks since I've actually played Shadow Empire. I'll just find it. Where is it? There it is. Because and also, like, if you are new to the game, don't get Oceania yet. Just play the base game. And even if you've get Oceania, don't play with an Oceania world. Just play with a base world first, just to get used to the game. Oh, yeah, Steam Next Fest. That was what I wanted to talk about as well. I do want to talk about that because, so we'll talk about that in just a minute. I'll just go and load a save game. Yeah, but Twitch there, Twitch session. This looks like it's still fairly early days. I'm not sure how many sessions I played with this one. Yep, so Doomerson saying, with the roadmap ahead, dare I say, Shadow Empire will be one of the best strategy games of the decade. I think so. I think it's going to be one of those classics. I think Shadow Empires will be a classic into the coming decades. It really is an amazing game. It's already an amazing game. It's just going to get better and better. Just see if I've got. I think I've got like a fight going on. I use the arrow keys. Yeah, so this is like the front line in through here. Now, I don't know if I've got aircraft. I think at this stage in this particular game, I've set up like a couple of armor groups, but I don't think I've got aircraft which is close enough to do anything. So in this case, I've got like a combat where I'm trying to sort of reach up into here. That's what I remember. Yeah, and I've got some sort of tanks in with other groups, but not dedicated, and I've only just built this particular tank group. So the tank group has been built to get through here. Now, tanks don't do well in forest, but I need to sort of break through around the other side. But I thought I had aircraft in and around here. I've got the airfields. Yeah, that air base, I'm still keeping that one running, but I don't have any aircraft there at this point in time. Can't think of where. Yeah, I thought I would have had them there. I think I'm mainly using armored cars to do my recon for me, and so the armored cars have got an ability where they can actually go in and do an attack and raise the, like, if I, for example, they've got no hope at all of getting this particular area. I've got a recon there of 94. If I had like better, and I'll just show this as an illustration. If this was an aircraft, what you can do is come in and actually do an attack. And so the odds, actually even the odds here, because this one has been surrounded, I've actually got pretty good odds here, even though it's only an armoured car going up against a tank unit. So if I do the attack, and it's because I've actually cut it off from its supply. But armoured cars will tend to run away quickly with like this. And so, but what they do is they've raised the recon. The starting recon was, actually, where is that? If we just go to detail, no, sorry, just go back to text. The initial, it's not showing me the recon into here. But this is where quite often these things here with the readiness, experience, morale, and entrenchment, these are the things you're trying to impact when you're using artillery, and you're also trying to impact these with bombers and things like that. So you're trying to weaken. You can see there our readiness dropped from 97 down to 68. Our experience went up a little bit. Our morale didn't change much, but this means that we're not going to be ready for combat next time. So we've lost a little bit. They lost 10 as well, so they lost so we've actually made them even weaker. Their initial readiness was very, very poor. And so this is where for bombers and artillery, you are wanting to impact this one fairly, like, a lot. But before you do it, if I just go back to the graphic, and oh, there we go. So yeah, our recon, as long as you have less than 400 recon points in the hex you're attacking, you'll not be sure to spot all the enemy subformations. Now, before we went in, it was 94. Our recon is now massively high because we went in with a recon type unit. So we just click on OK. I don't think I've got any. No, that's their artillery. This is not even artillery; it's anti-tank guns. I don't think I've got any artillery nearby. But now we have extremely high recon on that particular area. There's nowhere for those tanks to hide. So if I do have fighter bombers or anything at all, like if I do have aircraft and then and attack that particular hex now, there's no searching for them. We don't have to waste time in the next attack. The next attack is going to be an attack where we know exactly where they are. We're coming straight for them, and they can't really do much about it. Like if I even take this little group of Galactic Republic soldiers in and just do one here, there's probably a good chance we'll actually do like reasonable attacks. So let's just try it. Oh no, we got killed. It didn't work. But like ultimately, the recon essentially means that that there's nowhere for them to actually hide. So I mean, I would never do that, but that's actually that's just an illustration, I guess, of the importance of recon. Not that it showed that as such. Like these in here, I've got low recon 53, 47. So again, if with armoured cars, if they could sort of come in and raise the recon by doing their little attacks at the start, that would actually work it pretty well. If I go in and attack this one here with a recon of only 47, it's then going to mean that they've got to hunt around for them first. Even though I've got like big advantages with this one, because of the firepower, it still means that it's not going to be as good. But if you can, before you go in with any aircraft, if you can get that recon, if you're not using it for recon, if you're trying to do it for damage, make sure your recon is high. And you can always just have a look at the recon by going down to whatever it actually is in the bottom through here to see sort of what the benefits actually are, or what you sort of then need to do through this side. So the attack, you can see also the attack modifiers in through there. Actually, where is the recon there? Sorry, if you hover over this one here. So we have a minimum recon on this particular hex really needs to be 82 to get sort of even basic information, and 442 to get like full recon information in through there. So before you went in with fighter bombers or anything like that, you'd be wanting to get the recon as high as you could. Anyway, I won't play that. I'll just get back out of there. So just quit that one out and quit out of that one. Actually, sorry, before I will just load that one back in, because the big change really with this one here is now they've now made it official that the blueprint mode. Now the blueprint mode, I'm not that happy with it, to be honest, because I'm happy with what it does. So you've got blueprints back over here. This should be part of the actual, when you go to design, look, it should be part of your model designs. It should not be its own separate area. So it's one of these things where you do actually have like a few different ways of setting things up, different sort of blueprint designs. So you can actually go and rename them, sort of bring them back in and see exactly what happens. This should not be separate. This should be part of your actual design. It's been tacked on, and unfortunately, these sort of games become overly complex because they're not streamlined. And this is an example where you've got something very, very powerful that's not part of your actual model designer. And it really needs to be back. It should have been put back in here, and I hope that at some point it's taken away from this location and brought back into where the model design part of the actual game actually is. So, but it's been tacked on there because it's just too complex to put it into this particular area right now. But this is where it should be living, not over here on its own little tab. It's very good that we've got it now, like where we can sort of go into and see exactly what the setups actually are for anything. We can look at all the parameters, see what it's going to actually then go and be able to do. But it's not a good position for it, because you now have to learn how to use that as well as continue sort of doing whatever else you're actually doing as well. So yeah, it's not ideal in my opinion. So that's just my take on it. As it's a halfway measure with something that's really quite cool. So we'll just go across and get rid of that one. Next Fest. Let's talk about Next Fest next. So Tenor is saying the blueprint button in the design menu would suffice. Yes, it would. That would allow us to access and make it more convenient. Yeah, and it would then mean that you feel like you're just doing the same. Like it feels like it would then be contained. Now, the idea of the blueprint is that you can then sort of go and work on the blueprints before you into in the actual design phase, which is fine. It's just it should have been part of the other user interface. By adding more user interfaces into an already complex game, it's just going to make it sort of worse and worse. I think, in my opinion, I think it's going to make it so that it's going to have a core group of players who love it, who are used to the game, and it's going to have new players who are going to struggle getting into it because of the added complexity of all these different things, which are not logical where they actually end up being. Curry Munch is saying, hey Des, I'm reading this wrong, or is Nexus doing a free download of DS2 in the UK? Surely this is not correct. Free download of DS2. What's DS2? I'm not sure what DS2 is, sorry. Or is Nexus doing a free download? DS2. Do you mean Distant Worlds 2? I don't think that would be right. Let's have a quick look. Okay, we've got Age of Wonders. Oh, Distant Worlds 2, yeah. No, there's no specials on that one. Not that I know of. I don't know where you got the information. I don't know where you would have seen that, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Sorry, it's I would assume not. But again, there's been more and more changes to Distant Worlds 2 as well. And that really is, God, it's just such a great game. Again, it's becoming the perfect space forex for me. It's the level of detail in it now is just getting better and better and better. Can I put the link in? It'll actually kick out the link unless you can somehow hide the link. So if you can disguise the link, I can then put it in, but it won't, and I don't know how to quickly change it so that you've got permission to do it, but I don't think it will do it unless it's like, I think it'll accept YouTube and Steam links, I think. Mariner's saying missing tons of tooltips too. In Civilization game, I can read everything by right-clicking on the user interface, but in Shadow Empire, often I don't even know what certain tech does because it's just vague descriptions. Yes, and also with English not being Vic's main language, it does make it more difficult. There's lots of spelling mistakes and things like that as well, which does make it more difficult. So I'm guessing at some point there has to be a Shadow Empire 2 at some stage, where I'm guessing those sorts of things would then sort of be all combined back in at some point. Like that would be probably years and years down the line with what we've sort of got through there. Anyway, let's get rid of that one. This is it. Okay, so where is it? There's nothing showing just yet. Still not seeing anything there, Curry Muncher. Hi, Cethil, how are you going? Let's have a quick look back at Next Fest. Cethil saying, spelling mistakes, did I make it? I'm not sure what you mean. Battleman is saying, Shadow Empire is too complex for a tooltip-driven game. They're not that bad, but I think huge tooltips are worse than a manual. Yes and no. I still think it is overly complex. Dimas is saying most Dutchmen I've met had quite good English. He does have good English, but it's just there are little things where there are typos basically in it. And Battleman is saying I think tooltips need to be small and concise. They're bad if they're like the ones in AoW4, for example. I don't remember what they're like, to be honest, in there. Aaron's saying there's no excuse for some text not telling you what it does exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think that there does need to be more. And then still, some of those odds that get... And that's one thing I really don't like about Shadow Empire is the way it does its die rolls. I'd much prefer a bell curve effect rather than the... and I don't know exactly how... I wish that was exposed in the game. Okay, so Dom UK is saying Distant Worlds 2 is 25% off at GOG. That's all I can find. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, it's Nexus has a lot of the Steam specials, but not all of them. So it's sort of one of those things. The Nexus Game Store is it has access to certain specials, but nothing at all to do with GOG. Now, I don't know if we can look at Next Fest. It's not going to do it, is it? If I just do that. No, it's not going to do it. Just go back to Steam again. Here we go. It's now talking about it. So this is 7 days, hundreds of demos and hours of live streams. Now, for me, this is one of the worst times of the year. For the simple reason, I get inundated with so many demo information in my emails from developers who actually try to explain what their demo is in games that mean absolutely nothing to me, and it's a shame because a lot of the demos that I am interested in get drowned out in this week, which is a pain in the ass. Actually, what the hell's that? Rising Front. Hang on. See, I would love this. So what's this? A World War I battle simulator with a focus on ragdoll physics, intelligent AI, massive battles, procedural AI, cover systems, real-time building systems, and first-person shooter combat. See that? Like if that arrived in my inbox, in my email inbox, I'd be. That's the sort of stuff I like to receive. Like when there's stuff coming up. Also, I find that so many developers, since the last Next Fest, have, like the previous Next Fest, when they did send you information, they would tell you that there's a demo available and ask you if you wanted to play it, which is fine. What they're doing now is that they're sending, and I don't like doing demos because it's not the full game. I do it with games that I'm passionate about. Like I did it with Xenonauts. I've done it with a few others as well, but I'm not interested in games that I'm not following passionately to do a demo, because it's not the actual game itself. So it gives you a bit of a feel for it. But what they do is they don't tell you it's a demo this time around. And I've noticed for the last few weeks, I've been getting emails about games that I think, that sounds pretty cool, and then they give you a key for it, and then you open it up, and it's just a demo, and it's just a free demo anyway, so it's not the full game, and it shits me off, to be honest. So that really pisses me off, and the Next Fest is all about developers showing what they're working on, which is great. Like, it should be a celebration of games that you're interested in, but it ends up being, for me, just a massive influx of. So it's like a spam fest for me. It's not Next Fest, it's spam fest, and it's because of the hidden demos that keep on being sent to me, and it feels dishonest, and I actually feel quite negative when I come across those sorts of things happening. So if it is a game that I'm interested in, I'll often just write back and say, look, if it's just a demo, let me know, because I'm not going to cover it just yet, but I'm interested when you've got the full game. Anyway, this one does look interesting. Oh yeah, Ravenfield. I loved Ravenfield. If this is a similar sort of game to Ravenfield, that one does look good. It's single player. That's interesting as well. I'll have to try to look at this one, I think. Yeah, Ragdoll physics. I mean, I do like these sort of games. I don't know what's going on there. That's the battle size system. But it's very positive. So user reviews, 89%. That's actually pretty cool. Let's have a look at it and see what it's. I've never heard of this one. I don't think I have. Yeah, no, I don't. It's crazy, isn't it? It's too big. It's too much going on. That's interesting. So it's still in early access. Does it show us the overmap single player, which is interesting as well? I actually assumed it was going to be like a multiplayer, like massively multiplayer, based on the amount of things. Yeah, there's no map overview. There's got to be objectives somewhere. I'm not seeing anything at all in the interface. So you've got flags. So there's obviously you've got to take objectives, but no idea. What have people said about it? Actually, I'll just go and turn that off, sorry. Yeah, shot 200 men of my own army. Didn't get charged for war crimes. There we go. Played this game so much that I ended up with the blue screen of death. Play reasonably and don't overload your computer. So the negative ones are usually good. I need to give it for now a bad review. I like the idea behind it, although it's early access. I think it's not enough, at least for the price. That kind of game is very popular, and I saw a lot of videos on TikTok about it. But a lot of the way things they tell you, in my opinion, not there. I had some fun for about an hour. Afterwards, I tried to look for some good stuff, which makes someone play it for more time. But no, it was just a no from my side. Yeah, I can see that. Excellent World War I sandbox down through here as well. 37 hours, wow. Okay, so I had a lot of fun with it, and it's getting remarkably better with each monthly update. So I find myself coming back every couple of months and spending a few more hours with it. So yeah, so it's just a beer and pretzels game by the sounds of things. Very excited to see what this becomes. My biggest concern is that it's a solo project so far. It's entirely up to the dev and their motivation to continue building on what is an amazing foundation. So again, that's the sort of stuff I do like to get in Next Fest stuff. Let's go back out of there. So this is, and I don't know if this is all coming for the Next Fest type of ththings, but anyway, this is going to be starting tomorrow, Next Fest. It is a good time to actually have a look at the games. Now, the last Next Fest did actually have Xenonauts 2. Now, if Xenonauts is coming in a month's time, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a Xenonauts update. I don't know if we can go in and have a look and see if there's any preview of anything. Yeah, so starting in it's at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so US Pacific time on June the 19th. For me, it's already the 20th, so it won't be that far off. So it'll be later on today for a lot of you, I guess. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure when that actually is. Let's have a look and see. 10 a.m. Oh, it's just started. Okay. So it looks like it's just started. Actually, that's like a couple of hours ago. So it should be live. All right. So if that's the case, I don't know what games they've got available. Just go to strategy. Space Gears, Shogun, First Collapse. No idea what these are. Supreme Ruler, that's an old game, isn't it? The original Supreme Ruler, that's really old. That was a pretty cool game from memory. Again, most of these things are just going to be for demos. But that one there, let's have a look and see what this one's like. Oh, hang on. No, I remember this one. Yeah, this is not one I'm interested in. It's much more a strategic game about global politics. Yeah, zero interest in this sort of game, to be honest. I don't think that's for me. But I know that some people really love those sort of games. I'm not one of them. Let's just go back out again. Just get rid of that. Okay, so Rebellion Corp. Yeah, real time by the looks of things. Project Planet. Oh God, it keeps on switching as we go through. Just refresh the content. No, it doesn't like Project Planet. It's a shame because that actually does look interesting. Oh, this card and board games. Okay, no, forget that one. Tower Defense, forget that. Grand Strategy, Dust Fleet. Just have a quick skim and just see if there's anything in here that really grabs your attention. Merchant of the Six Kingdoms. Yeah, this one looks interesting. This is one of those ones that I did receive, and they did tell me it was a demo, but it actually looked pretty cool. So I did actually install that. I'm going to be trying to cover that this week if I can. So I wanted to have a bit of a look at this one. This one looks like it's actually got a lot of scope. So I might just open that one up. It's unusual the way it sort of does work, but I sort of like what it does. But I don't know much about it yet. So there's very much about terraforming. I'll just turn that one off. So you sort of got to terraform to suit whatever group you're sort of trying to sort of promote. So it's very much a hex-based civilization style game, but we've got these reshape the earth. This is mainly what it's all focused on, and so that these are your characters that you control. But it does look interesting. You do like different sorts of things that then sort of do come. Anyway, that's one that I will be wanting to have a bit of a look at. So, yeah, I got into that one knowing that was what we were looking at. Just wait for that one to come back through again. Get rid of that. Virtual reality. Yeah, so this is the most popular, I think. or maybe not. Is Space Gears. Again, not sure what that one actually is. That one looks interesting as well. But these are all just the different demos that you've then got. As I say, I tend to get like an awful lot of emails with all these different demos. Oh, Wargroove 2. Okay. That's interesting. That's sort of like Wargroove is basically Advance Wars in the for modern stuff, which is okay. That's cool. Actually, I would love for them to make like a Wargroove with procedural content, but it doesn't seem to sort of have it. Okay, so Karen Munch is saying, Daz, you would need to go to the main page of Nexus for the UK and search Distant Worlds 2. Definitely says free download. Okay. On my Nexus screen or on a different one? I don't know. I haven't got a... I can't log in to see what it's like from the UK, to be honest. So I'll have to have a look at that one afterwards. Okay, so Battlemane is saying Supreme Ruler is a Tortuga Power Classic. There we go. And Roger's saying that immediately after Next Fest starts the summer sales. I'm surprised that we're not seeing XCOM. Oh, not XCOM, Xenonauts. Why is Xenonauts not there? Oh, Land Nana, this is another one that I downloaded as well and had a bit of a look at. This one does look interesting. In a very, very quick and easy way of playing. We'll be wanting to cover this one as well because that one does look very, very interesting, the way it sort of does work. Let's see if there's any others. Just having a bit of a look to see if there's anything else in there that sort of grabs the attention. Not sure about Empire Shall Fall. Yeah, this is another one that is very much like Advance Wars. But I don't think it's random again. Oh, God, I would love these to be random. Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. Advance Wars is... I don't know why I like the idea of Advance Wars so much. It's Oliver saying, Xenonauts will release into early access on July the 18th. I thought they would still have a demo here. To be honest, I thought that would sort of be what they would then go and do, but they haven't. It looks like they're not doing it this time. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Next Fest seems to be good for a lot of the smaller indie sort of games, So it is one of those times. I just wish that they would be open with me about whether it's a demo or not. I tend to miss a lot of stuff. Dust Fleet looks kind of interesting, says Dom UK. Anyway, let's do the giveaway. We've sort of gone past the 2-hour mark. So I will open her up, the Nightbot, and log in. And that looks okay. So we've got the giveaways. So the keyword, this will be for to win a key for the Pegasus Expedition, which, as I say, is coming out of early access today, or within the next 24 hours at least, anyway. So I'll just put the word space. So the word space is going to be the keyword. So if you guys just type that in the chat, so the YouTube chat, just type the word space, you then can be in the running for getting this particular game. I'll just open up Sublime Text. Bring that one across into there. I won't go into the running this time because this is an actual giveaway, so to coincide with this actual launch. So again, it's like, thanks to the devs for providing that key to us. So we've got that one through there. Now, Voodoo Dog, you actually didn't claim your prize last time, so are you happy for me to put that one back into the pool again for next time? Karen Munch is saying he's wanted me to do an ad blocker so it gets binned so it's not featured on Google search. I'm not sure what you mean. Yep. So if it's for marbles too, so actually, if any of you just jump in, so Ben has not gone in there because I guess he's actually got it. But look, I'll just add you guys in. If you don't want the game, just let me know afterwards, and so I'll still actually add you in. If you win it, then I can give it away next week. But Voodoo Dog, we were in an email conversation. You said that you weren't sure about it. So just let me know. Yeah, put it in the pool again. Okay, cool. No worries. All right, this is cool. We've got a lot actually today. So I think we're down there. So Jimenian is the last one in there. Let's just go through. I'll just have to add anyone else manually. So, oops, Thomas Pampas, see you in there? Yep, there you are there. It's easy for me to grab this one now. And hang on, Marco, we got you in there? Yep, you're in there. Okay, so that'll do us. And Serenity. Okay, I'm still going. Okay, these as they come in. That's it, is it? Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, battle mode's now ticked himself on. That's fine. Yep. Okay, so that will do us. Go Control C, Alt Tab, Control V. And we've got 33 today. That's a lot. So I'm just going to go to Find, Replace, Replace All. Okay, cool. So we've got 33 players. Good luck, everyone. Let's do a quick save there. We'll open up the bots. Sorry, the marbles on stream. Now the marbles on stream have just had a big update as well. I didn't actually look to see what was added to it, but hopefully there's some more maps. We'll see how we go. So good luck, everyone. When it finally loads. Taking a bit of time. There is a cursor in the top left corner. We'll just wait. Here it comes. Here it comes. So, well, this is designed for Twitch. It's not designed the way we play it, but we do have a workaround. So we're going to go across into race. We'll pick a map that is about 2.5 minutes long. Mountain Mingle. That looks good. Go to make it a simulation. Go to settings. Make the actually before I do that one, number of players 33. Settings. It's all convoluted, but at least it's not too long to get that all done. So we've done there. So we've now got all the names. Yep, so we've got the custom names in through there. That's all fine. Okay, good luck, everyone. Here we go. We'll see what this one see what this one actually brings. Oh, this looks very very interesting. Start the race. Good luck. Here we go. Very different sort of graphic style this time around. Is this the same one we did last time? I think it is. Just looks a bit different. Looks like Thomas is in the lead. There's a heap of them at the top. Who's the first one down? Roger. Roger straight through. Brendan. Mike Stream. Back in through this other side. Let's have a look and see what happens as they hit this one in through here. Okay, so Roger's in the lead there. Just follow Roger up. So curling up through this side. Is anyone else going to... Okay, Brendan's up the top there as well. No, it's still Roger that we're looking at. So Roger's out in front. I think it's Roger that we're looking at. Yeah, no, it is Roger. Toby right behind. So Toby's coming in close. Now, we don't know what's happening on the other side there. We've got Flackhawk and Brendan on the other side, but they're a little bit behind this group over this other side here. Let's just go back across and have another look at these as they sort of start to come back down. Let's see who actually hits this area first. Okay, first one went down. I don't know who that actually is. Who's going to be the first one out of these? Okay, so Toby looks like he's actually now in the lead. Oh no, that's Roger there. We've still actually got Roger in the front. So Roger is the one that's out in the front there. Who's going to get through this one first? No one's fallen off yet. Okay, we've got Drexy over the other side. We've got there's Roger still. So Roger is this one here. I don't know why we've lost sight of the of what's going on with the numbering there. If I just go to number 2, then back to number 1, is that going to then give him the? There we go. We've got the name back again. Oh, and is that the win? Yes, it is actually, Roger. You've already won. Antonio came second. Shifty came third. That was pretty close actually. So you were out in the lead there the whole way through. So congratulations, Roger. You've got the key. So what I'll do is I'll get you to email me. I'll just go and put my ChatTactic.com. So there we go. Now, as I say, this is a week where I tend to get a lot of spam. So just if I don't get back to you quickly, like within a couple of hours, it's probably because it's got caught up somehow in all of the Next Fest stuff. But I'll be looking for it, so we should be okay. But congratulations there, Roger. Well done. And yeah, it's so you're the big winner for today. And yeah, that will be so that'll be the Pegasus Expedition, which, as I say, now has got sort of like more random content than what it had ever before. So that's great stuff. I hope you enjoy the game. Anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's session. Be back again next week. Tom was saying, what game is it again? Didn't even catch the name. The Pegasus Expedition is the name of the game. So Roger's saying, never mind, it's not a game for me, I think. So you don't want it? Do we put it back in for next week? Okay, you can put it back in the pool for next week. All right, we'll do that one again next week in that case. But you still won. Yes, you did win. Okay, so the prize next week will also be the Pegasus Expedition. So we'll sort of see how it goes. Actually, I do like it that we've got games where people can sort of put them back into the pool again. It's good because I don't have that many giveaways at this stage, so sometimes I end up with a fair few keys to give away, and so there's no real issue. But that was cool. We've sort of got the whole thing done there. Anyway, guys, going to leave it there. So thanks for watching. I will catch you next week, or if you're on Twitch, I'll be around pretty much every day on Twitch, and I will actually be uploading some videos this week as well into YouTube. So I'll catch you when I see you. Thanks for watching.